Welcome to the Brasileirao magazine of round 30. Coming up in today's show, the Sassy slashes the Musketeers. International beat Gremio in the derby, provoked their rivals, and it all kicked off in Porto Alegre. The Pigs smashed the Whales. Palmeiras saw off Santos in the Sao Paulo derby. The Roosters cook the Rabbits. Atltico Mineiro sneaked past America in the Minas Gerais derby and went one step closer to lifting the Brasileirao title. Goals. An emotional farewell. Plus, loads and loads of excitement. All coming up now in the Brasileirao magazine. The opening match of round 30 of the Brasileirao saw Corinthians taking on Fortaleza in the Neoquímica Arena in a direct battle for a spot in the Libertadores. After a last-minute win against Chapecoense, Silvinia's Corinthians were under a little less pressure in their fight at the top of the table. Voivoda's Fortaleza have had a fantastic Brasileirao, but were without Edison and Iago Pikachu for the match in Sao Paulo. With over 36,000 fans at the stadium, Corinthians looked the sharpest early on. Queiroz found Roger Guedes behind the defence, but the number 1-2-3 missed a great opportunity. With 27 minutes on the clock, Gil popped up after a centre from Roger Guedes, but Marcelo Benevenuto was well positioned to clear the danger. Once again, Guedes caused problems. The Musketeers' main man tried his luck from a set piece, but Marcelo Boecki appeared to save Fortaleza. After the break, both sides found it hard to get going, but on the 76-minute mark, Corinthians had another opportunity with Juliano when he was picked out by Fagner. However, the midfielder missed a target by a long way. Gustavo Silva then began to get busy with his signature move, before forcing a clever save from the keeper. The Musketeers kept up the pressure. Gustavo Silva made inroads before connecting with Juliano. The midfielder sent the ball to Renato Augusto, but the woodwork saved the Lions. After so many attempts, it looked like there'd been no way through. But with just 4 minutes left, Cantillo, Roger Guedes and Joe linked up. Cantillo found a bit of space and scored a dramatic goal as the Neoquímica exploded.
Oh, Corinthians! Finally breaking the lock of Marcelo Boecki. See the celebration of Silvinho.
1-0 Corinthians. Fortaleza had a chance for a dramatic equaliser when Mateus Vargas broke away and struck from a long way out, but the ball went inches wide of Cassio's post. 1-0 the final score. Another late win for Corinthians, with the fans back in the arena as they move closer to the top 4. Internacional came up against arch enemies Gremio in the Beira-Rio for what has been ranked the 8th biggest derby in the world. The two teams were in very different situations in the table. The Colorado were fighting for a spot in the Libertadores. Gremio were fighting to avoid the drop into the second division. Diego Aguirre's side were at full strength, with Yuri Alberto returning to the starting 11. Wagner Mancini's team lined up with 3 defensive midfielders. The first chance was for the Colorado. Yuri Alberto moved forward quickly on the left and shot from way outside the area. The game lacked real chances until Inter got the breakthrough on the 39th minute. Eddie Nilsson crossed. Tyson got away from Rafinha to angle in a difficult header to make it 1-0, much to the joy of the Inter fans.
Into the back of the net, Internacional go in front. Tyson and Inter celebrate.
Tempers frayed early in the second half. The hot-headed Rafinha got into an altercation with a ball boy, which annoyed both benches. High tension in the Porto Alegre derby. With Inter opting to sit back on their lead, Gremio began to create chances. Lucas Silva fired a rocket from outside the area, but Marcelo Lomba did just enough to prevent the equaliser. A great effort from the former Real Madrid midfielder. Things heated up. Moses tried it on a bit when he was caught, much to the annoyance of Thiago Santos, who tried to remove the left back and caused another altercation. In stoppage time, Gremio pushed forward. Diego Souza beat the defenders and tried to find a way past Lomba, who again kept the ball out. Game over in the Beira-Rio. A fabulous win for Internacional, who enjoyed hammering another nail in Gremio's relegation coffin. But it wouldn't be a Grenal without the traditional post-match clashes, and this is what happened when some Inter players taunted their bitter rivals. Not a great ending to what had been an intriguing battle between two arch-enemies. Fluminense locked horns with Sport Recife at the Maracanã on Saturday evening in an important match for both teams. Marcao mixed up youth with experience in Flu's attack with John Kennedy and former Brazil striker Fregi. Gustavo Florentin was suspended, so assistant manager Cesar Lucena led the team on the bench, while Hernanes commanded the actions inside the pitch. Sport were defensive and played on the counter-attack, and this tactic caused Fluminense all sorts of problems. Hernanes shot from outside the area to worry Marcus Felipe and co. With 39 minutes on the clock, the home side had the best opportunity after this corner. David Braz headed into the middle of the area, John Kennedy came in, but his effort went wide. Back from the break, Casares found Luis Henrique with a deep pass. He controlled the ball nicely, but failed to find the target with his shot. Fluminense ramped up the pressure. Casares set up Luis Henrique with a sweet pass. John Kennedy took over, but the young forward was denied by a fabulous save from Mailson. Casares and Luis Henrique tried again to find a way through the Sport defence. The move ended with a Luis Henrique first-time shot that smashed onto the post. Flu's Ecuadorian was running the show as he set up Iago Felipe, but once again the tricolor missed the target. With the final whistle approaching and the home fans getting on the backs of their own players, Marlon centred and veteran centre-back David Braz hit the perfect header to secure all 3 points.
Dramatic victory for the tricolor carioca. The great centre from the left of Marlon, and the header, the chip of David Braz.
What a turnaround in the Maracanã as the supporters' frustration evaporated in an instant. Flu stayed in touch with the Libertadores pack. Sport stayed in the relegation zone. Santos locked horns with Palmeiras in the Vila Belmiro in another big derby. The hosts had shown signs of improvement and were desperate to move away from the dreaded drop zone. Palmeiras travelled to the coast on a bit of a roll and were firm favourites for the match. Fabio Carilli kept his preferred formation with 3 defenders. Lucas Braga and Haniel were up front. Palmeiras are just a couple of weeks away from the Libertadores final, but Abel Ferreira chose to go with his regular starters. With just 11 minutes on the clock, Santos almost went in front. Haniel got the ball and finished with a fantastic volley that almost beat Weberton. Palmeiras then began to dominate. Gustavo Scarpa centred close to the near post. Zé Rafael got in a header, but Honi failed to give the final push into the net. Weberton connected with Dudu on the left. The speedy forward turned on Hobson and advanced before finding Honi, who finished from outside the area. The away side thought they were ahead, but VAR came in and the referee decided that Dudu had handled the ball at the beginning of the move. But it was only a matter of time before Palmeiras struck. Dudu was at the centre of things when he found Rafael Veiga with a cheeky pass. Veiga spotted Honi's run, and the frontman finally converted. 1-0 Palmeiras, who deserved to be ahead.
Now he gives Palmeiras the lead at Vila Belmiro Stadium.
The second period started with Santos needing to draw level. Zanocelo recovered the ball outside the area and produced a decent on goal, only to see Weberton preventing the equaliser. Then, on a counter-attack from Palmeiras, Honi exchanged passes with Scarpa. Once again the ball ended up in the net, but once again the effort was ruled out for an offside. But the pressure from Palmeiras finally paid off. Piquerez recovered the ball in midfield and set up the counter-attack. The left-back exchanged passes with Dudu. The ball got to Honi, who picked out Veiga for this delicious hit into the back of the net. A wonderful strike from a player on top of his game.
Another well-built play by Palmeiras, so much room for their players.
1-0 the final score, and the first win for Palmeiras away at Santos since 2009. This was a huge boost for the Greens in the league, and with the Libertadores final coming up. For Santos, the alarm bells are ringing loud and clear as they try to avoid the first relegation in the club's history. Atletico Mineiro and America went head-to-head in the Minas Gerais derby. The two teams had already met in the finals of the local state championship earlier this year, where Galo came out on top. A lot was at stake, with the leaders edging towards the title and the Rabbits pushing for a spot in the next Libertadores. Atletico were without star player Nacho Fernandez, so Zaracho came into midfield and Savarino went out on the wing. America kept the same team from previous matches, with Ademir, Felipe Azevedo and Zarate making up a three-pronged attack. Before the game, there was another tribute to Marília Mendonça, with the home fans singing along to Queen of Heartache. Galo bossed the game in the first half, but most of their opportunities came from long-distance shots, like this one from Chiche that almost caught Cavicchioli off guard. The best chance was saved for the end of the 45. Atletico strung the passes together and Hulk set up Vargas, but the Chilean couldn't provide the finish to an excellent move. Back from the break, America had their only opportunity with Mauro Zarate. He tried to finish on a follow-up but was blocked. Next, Junior Alonso fired a thunderbolt from way outside the area, but Cavicchioli saved in an amazing fashion. Galo kept up the pressure. After a good move on the right, Diego Costa combined with Guilherme Arana, who delivered a perfect shot into the back of the net. 1-0 for Atletico, a priceless goal from the left back.
Atltico Mineiro! Brazilian international Guilherme Arana.
Hulk passed to Vargas, who tried his luck, but once again Galo was stopped by the in-form Mateus Cavicchioli. End of story in the Mineiro. 3 more points for Atletico Mineiro in their quest for their first league title since 1971. America came away with nothing, but remained in touching distance of the Libertadores places. Red Bull Bragantino hosted Atletico Paranaense in the Nabi Abid Stadium in a matchup that will decide the Copa Sul-Americana in a few weeks' time. Italo, Artur, Elinho and Queijo were all up front in Red Bull's attack. Alberto Valentim had to do without Renato Kaiser, so Nicao, Christian and Bizzoli led the line. Red Bull got into trouble with 7 minutes on the clock. Nicao stole the ball and connected with Bizzoli with a deep pass, but the striker's shot was stopped by Clayton. The response came in a very similar fashion. The Massa Bruta recovered the ball and Elinho took advantage, but Santos was alert to the danger. With 22 minutes on the clock, Italo got the ball outside the area and shot just wide of the post. After the break, Italo again received the ball inside the area. The number 15 turned and struck, but his shot lacked the power to trouble Santos. Minutes later, Atletico had a set piece in a promising position. Marcinho stepped forward and curled the ball past Clayton, who had misjudged the flight. 1-0 to the away side. Poor keeping from Clayton.
And from nothing, Marcinho finds the back of the net. Red Bull caught flat-footed on that one.
Artur advanced on the left, cut into the middle and centred, but his dangerous delivery was too far away from Italo. In stoppage time, Nicao started the counter-attack and hit a brilliant pass to Pedro Rocha, who produced some skills before making it
2-0 to the Hurricanes against Red Bull.
3 much-needed points for Atletico Paranaense, who had been sliding into trouble. Red Bull remained in the top 4, but this was a poor performance from them. Bahia came up against Sao Paulo in the Arena Fonte Nova in a battle over tricolores. The team from Salvador were undefeated since Guto Ferreira came in 6 games ago. The club from Sao Paulo remained a little shaky under Rogério Ceni. Bahia had the return of Gilberto to the starting lineup. The frontman is the Brasileirao top scorer, so expectations were high for the striker. Ceni repeated the same formation that beat Internacional in the last round, with youngsters Liziero, Gabriel Sara and Igor Gomez in midfield. First half, Juninho Capixaba delivered a clever shot, forcing Thiago Volpe to work with only a few minutes on the clock. At the end of the first half, Nino Paraíba centred to Juninho Capixaba. The left-back came up with an amazing bicycle kick that went straight onto Gilberto's head, but Volpe stopped what would have been a work of art. Then came more tributes to Marília Mendonça, where footage was shown and balloons were released. Bahia were having the best opportunities, but were failing to deliver the final blow. That's when Guto Ferreira looked at the bench and brought in Rossi, who was coming back from injury. After a free kick, Volpe tried to clear, but the ball went straight to Rossi. The winger controlled it well, before producing this exquisite finish into the top corner to open up the scoring. What a brilliant goal!
What a screamer by Rossi! He shows why he's an idol for this Bahia side!
Sao Paulo then stepped up the pace as they tried to avoid the defeat. After a nice exchange of passes, Benitez got the ball, but Danilo Fernandes pulled off a sensational save to deny the equaliser. Game over in the Fonte Nova. Bahia's decent run continued as they slowly climbed away from the relegation zone. Sao Paulo dropped more points as they failed to keep up with the teams in the Libertadores places. Ceará took on Cuiabá on Sunday evening in a packed Arena Castelão. Jael and Vina appeared in the starting 11 for the home team. On the other side, Jennison and Clayson were in the attack. With just 1 minute on the clock, Jennison won the contest to the ball, found some space and shot from outside the area. After a cross into the box, Eric got a touch, Jael finished, but Volta made the save. Fernando Sobral found Jael, who set it up for Vina to come in with a first-time shot, but the midfielder missed the target. On the 38th minute mark, Ceará started a clever counter-attack with a good exchange of passes that ended up with Mendoza. But the winger struck wide and missed a great opportunity to open the score. Right after the break, Mesias went up for a corner. The centre-back found space away from his markers and put his side ahead.
Messias, he gives the lead to Ceará.
Then, Felipe Marques received a long ball from Camilo and had one of the best opportunities for Cuiabá. He cut into the middle and finished, but João Ricardo was well positioned to make the save. Late in the game, Gilberto Lopes was called by VAR to check a possible penalty by Paulo on Kleber. After taking a look at the footage, the official awarded the spot kick. Kleber stepped forward, but Volta guessed right and kept Cuiabá in the game. In the closing stages, Vina managed to steal the ball in the attack and gave it to Mendoza. But the number 10 finished poorly as Volta came up with the goods once again. The result left Ceará in a comfortable position in mid-table and just behind Cuiabá on goal difference. In the closing match of round 30, bottom side Chapecoense had a tough mission against defending champions Flamengo, who were still pursuing leaders Atltico Mineiro. Felipe Endres repeated his last lineup with the attacking trio of Mikey, Caio Nunes and Henrique Almeida. Renato Portaluppi had 6 players unavailable for the match and sent out his team with Bruno Viana in defence, Mateuzinho and Ramon on the flanks, and young João Gomez in midfield. The first half was action-packed. Mateuzinho made a nice move, got into the area and shot to beat Kayla. A beautiful goal from Flamengo's youth product and his first for the club.
What a phenomenal individual effort, and it pays off.
The equaliser came 5 minutes later. The coach's decision to go with the three-pronged attack proved effective. Enrique Almeida finished, but reserve keeper Gabriel Batista saved Flamengo. In the follow-up, Mikey pulled it back and Caio Nunes knocked the ball into the back of the net. Replay showed the keeper tried to stop it, but the ball had already crossed the line. Amazingly, the bottom side found themselves in front just 4 minutes later. Anderson Leite beat Michael with an embarrassing nutmeg and crossed to the number 96, who did the rest. Chape ahead against all the odds.
And Chapecoense, would you believe it, in extraordinary, surprising fashion come from behind to take the lead.
This was embarrassing for Flamengo, but they drew level in the first half. Gabi hit a weighted pass and Michael raced forward. The winger went past the keeper before firing home.
Michael with ice running through his veins.
With the score at 2-2, both sides took their foot off the pedal. But then two-goal hero, Caio Nunes, got his marching orders after a second yellow card. Moments before the final whistle, Everton Ribeiro also got red carded after stomping on Alan Santos. A terrible result for Flamengo, who now sit 11 points behind leaders Atltico Mineiro, but with only one game in hand. As for Chape, they showed real pluck, taking a point from the Giants with only 10 men for most of the second half. Our top three starts with a super goal from Michael. After receiving a wonderful long pass from Gabriel Barbosa, the number 19 brushed off the defenders and stroked the ball into the back of the net. Michael providing our third choice of the round. In second place is Bahia's Rossi. Sao Paulo keeper Thiago Volpe thought he'd done enough to clear the danger after a set piece, but the ball went straight to Rossi. The substitute took it down well before coming up with this fantastic finish. Rossi, brilliant for Bahia. Now it's time for our number one choice, and what a goal it was. Piqueres won the ball in midfield to get things moving. The ever-industrious Dudu and Honi got involved before the ball fell to Rafael Veiga, who hit this stunning shot with aplomb. A nonchalant strike from the midfielder, well worthy of the award of the best goal in round 30. This was a brilliant save that guaranteed all 3 points for Bahia against Sao Paulo. Benitez was outside the box and aimed for the top corner, and this prompted a sensational stop from the keeper. There was just no other choice as Danilo Fernandes gets the award for the best save in round 30. Despite the painful last-minute defeat to Corinthians, Chinga had some reason to celebrate as he got our vote for the best skill of the round. The home side were pressing down on Fortaleza when Chinga brushed off the pressure from Roger Guedes with true style. A great move by Chinga and the best skill of round 30. It's that time when we pick out the outstanding players and the coach from the round. Our goalkeeper is Marcelo Lomba from Internacional. At right back, it's Marcinho from Atltico Paranaense. Our two central defenders are João Victor from Corinthians and Thiago Heleno from Atltico Paranaense. At left back, Guilherme Arana from Atletico Mineiro. In midfield, Edgy Nilsson, Internacional. Rafael Veiga, Palmeiras. Casares, Fluminense. Up front, Tyson of Internacional, Eduardo Vargas from Atletico Mineiro, and Caio Nunes of Chapecoense. Our man on the bench is Abel Ferreira from Palmeiras. Palmeiras defeated bitter rival Santos on Sunday in the Vila Belmiro and secured their 4th straight win in the Brasileirao. Much of this was down to the skills of Rafael Veiga. The best player in the game scored a marvellous goal in the second half, his 9th in the competition and 16th in this season. That made him the Greens' top scorer. For deciding the match in the big derby, Rafael Veiga gets our nod for the best player of the round. Internacional defeated arch enemies Gremio and made sure the tricolor stayed in the relegation zone. The Colorado have their eyes on the Libertadores spots, while the tricolor probably needs 6 wins from their remaining 9 games if they are to avoid the drop. With 30 rounds gone, Atltico Mineiro are edging ever closer to the coveted Brasileirao title as they sit 10 points ahead of second place Palmeiras. Defending champions Flamengo are now 11 points behind the leaders. Bragantino are in 4th, Fortaleza, Corinthians, Internacional and Fluminense are all in hot pursuit. Looking down at the wrong end of the table, Sao Paulo are yet to break 3 of the threat of relegation. The same can be said of Bahia and Santos, but the teams in real trouble are Sport Recife, Juventude, Gremio and Chapecoense. Why the Greens said no to the Green superhero. Palmeiras president Mauricio Gagliotti has explained why he didn't sign Hulk, who ended up joining Atletico Mineiro. According to Gagliotti, Dudu's return after a loan period to Qatar's Al Duhail was the main reason. Transparency for VAR. The Brazilian Football Confederation will start to disclose the audio and video footage for VAR revisions. According to the Confederation, the objective is to allow the clubs, fans and the press to understand how the video referee works, as well as to explain how decisions are made with VAR. Round 31 began last week when Cuiabá and Chapecoense ended up with a 0-0 draw. On Tuesday, a desperate Gremio take on Fluminense. Wednesday will be busy with 7 action-packed games. There's Atletico Paranaense against Ceará in the Arena de Baixada and Santos against Bragantino in the Villa. One not to be missed is the eagerly awaited match between leaders Atletico Mineiro and Corinthians in the Mineiro. Palmeiras come up against Atletico Goianiense in the Allianz Parque. Fortaleza and Sao Paulo clash in the Castelão. Sport against American Mineiro will be in the Arena Pernambuco. And the State Derby, where Juventude and Internacional go head-to-head, is in the Alfredo Jaconi. The round closes on Thursday as Flamengo lock horns with Bahia in the Maracanã. That's it for this week. We hope you're enjoying our coverage of the toughest, most exciting league in the Americas, and we'll be back next week with more action from the Brasileirao.